This is
This
the
is the
MOBC, my
MOBC,
own
my own
boxing
boxing
community.
community.
Please like,
Please
share,
like,
and
share, and
subscribe.
subscribe. You know, it seems that Canelo Alvarez is running out of excuses. And not only is it Canelo Alvarez who's running out of excuses, but it's also a bunch of YouTube fanboys out there who are all running out of excuses. Now, I am on the record defending Canelo in the beginning when this whole idea of Benavidez fight was to take place, because I felt that it was Benavidez's fault for losing his belt on the scale. Look, if he didn't lose his belt on the scale, honestly, we wouldn't be here. And in order for Canelo to be undisputed, he would have had to face Benavidez. But he lost his belt on the scale. However, he brought himself back up and now became the number one guy that the fans wanted to see Canelo fight. And with Turki Alalshikh and what he's doing, he's trying to make the best fight the best, right? He's trying to make the best fight the best. He's trying to make the contenders out there fight other contenders, right? That's how boxing used to be. And I don't see anything wrong with what Turki Alalshikh is doing. And even with the whole Tank Davis situation, it's the same thing, right? He's trying to make the Shakur fight with Tank Davis, but in order for that fight to happen, Shakur gotta get out of his own comfort zone and go with Tank Davis's comfort zone, with Tank Davis's promotional companies to make the fight, right? And then I guess if so, Tank Davis could pick the venue, Tank Davis could pick the ring size, whatever, the judges, whatever, right? But with Turki Alalshikh, it would be 50-50. And they're guaranteed to make a lot of money, right? The same thing goes with Canelo. Canelo was on Gilly's podcast or whatever, and he was talking about being a boss. And he was talking about Floyd Mayweather and Oscar De La Hoya and Mike Tyson did it where they called their own shots. He even mentioned Cesar Chavez calling his own shots. And he said that they didn't fight their mandatories. It was times where they didn't fight their mandatories. So he doesn't have to fight his mandatory. And right then and there, you're contradicting yourselves, because the WBA gifted you a mandatory, what happens to be Berlinga, a guy who's never faced a world champion, a guy who's never faced a legit top 10 opponent. Now, you just stated that you don't have to fight your mandatory, but you're fighting one right now because you're picking and choosing. You didn't fight Skull because I guess no one knows who Skull is, right? I believe Skull was the IBF mandatory. So you didn't fight Skull, but you're picking Berlinga. What's the difference? The difference is you want to make it more of an event to sell tickets, right? You want to make it a Puerto Rican versus Mexico event, right? And it shouldn't even be that. I hate the whole Puerto Rican and Mexican. I hate the whole Filipino versus Mexican. It should just be two boxers versus two boxers. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic. But that's all you want to do. Berlinga is more popular than Skull, so that's why you're picking Berlinga. But Benividez is more popular than Berlinga, but you're not picking him. If you want to go with Mexican versus Puerto Rican to sell, that's fine. But last time I checked, Mexican versus Mexican sell tickets also. And it's been that way. And then you try to compare yourself to like Oscar De La Hoya. Listen, Cesar Chavez was past his prime, still fighting top opposition. Fought Oscar De La Hoya twice. fought Costa way past his prime. I don't see you doing that, and you're not past your prime. Mike Tyson was past his prime. He fought Lennox Lewis. He fought Evander Holyfield twice. He was past his prime. You mentioned Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya fought Manny Pacquiao past his prime. Floyd Mayweather past his prime. And you can make an argument that when he fought Felix Sturm and Bernard Hopkins, he was not past his prime, but not at his best. Certainly not in his best weight class, which was 147 pounds. And he fought those guys at 160. You don't compare them to them. You don't compare to any of those greats. Not at all. And what Turki Alalshikh is doing is he's trying to bring back what boxing used to be, where the best fought the best and they didn't care if they took a O. And guess what? Even if they took a O, a lot of those fighters still did great things after. Why? Because losing doesn't matter. Only in this generation of boxing where a L matters, and it is sickening and it is hurting the sport of boxing. It is hurting the sport of boxing. And without Turki Alalshikh, we wouldn't have seen Wilder versus Parker. That fight wouldn't have never happened. And we got a good fight out of it, and Parker beat him. Without Turki Alalshikh, we wouldn't have a Wilder versus Zhang. If Zhang was fighting, let's say for top rank, and Wilder was still fighting for PBC, that fight wouldn't have never happened. You know why? Not only would PBC not want to do business, because it would have been a risky fight, and we saw why when the results came in, how he beat Wilder in 2 rounds. Without Turki Alalshikh, we wouldn't have gotten Usyk versus Fury for the undisputed. It wouldn't have happened without Turki Alalshikh. We wouldn't have gotten Ortiz, Pitbull Cruz, and Rayo. That wouldn't have never happened. And the thought of those two guys wouldn't have never happened. And look what happened. Pitbull Cruz was quote unquote exposed, as some would say, because he got outboxed fighting one-dimensional. Without Turki Alalshikh, we wouldn't be getting a potentially fight of the year heavyweight bout between Daniel Dubois and Anthony Joshua, which in my opinion is still a 50-50 fight. All of this because of Turki Alalshikh. We wouldn't have gotten Spence, I can't remember the other guy's name, We wouldn't have gotten Crawford against the other guy, I can't remember his name. But that whole event, we wouldn't have gotten no event like that with PBC, with Eminem rapping, giving a concert, in a full-on event with a stacked card. We saw Jared Anderson, a heavyweight prospect, lose badly. We don't know if that would have taken place without Turki Alalshikh. And now we're going to get Bivol versus Beterbiev. Because of who? Turki Alalshikh. So I don't know what is going on with this boxing community, and I don't know what's going to happen with the sport of boxing itself, with the competition of UFC competing with UFC, PFL, bare knuckle, all of these different fighting organizations boxing has to compete with. And the only way that boxing can stay on top is with the best fighting the best. And that's what Turki Alalshikh is doing. And I don't see anything wrong with that. Listen, a lot of you guys are like, Canelo's being a boss. He's doing the right thing. Tank Davis is being a boss. You can't come in here and try to take over. He's not trying to take over. The guys who you're calling a boss, they're still bosses, and they're still going to get paid. Why do you care? Listen, I don't care about pay-per-view sales. I don't care how much money they make. I don't care what the percentage pay-per-view percentage they get out of it. I don't care about none of that. All I care about is two guys getting in the ring and seeing who is the best. That's it. That's why you don't hear me talk about what a boxer bought, or how much money a boxer spent, or how much money they made, or how much their pay-per-view sales. You won't see that on my channel because I don't care. I just want to see the best fight the best. And now what it looks like is when Canelo retire, it's just going to be a fantasy fight. It's going to be a fantasy fight, and people are going to be debating on who would have won. Who would have won if Canelo and Benividez fought? That's how it almost was going to be with Usyk and Fury. Fury was doing everything he could to avoid Usyk, and that would have been a fantasy fight. But it wasn't. We got the fight and we saw the results. We got the fight, we saw the results. And that's what it's going to look like with Shakur and Tank Davis if it keeps going on like this. When all you got to do is swallow your little pride, take a break from Amazon, make that deal with Turki Alalshikh, make that money, and fight Shakur Stevenson. That's it. And why not? Because if you guys happen to fight, let's say 2 or 3 years down the line, you guys will be past Tank will be almost out of his prime, and Shakur will be almost past his best, right? That's why we want to see these fights now. You are in your prime, in your early 20s. I don't care what anyone says. You are no longer the best in your mid-30s, period. And I don't want to hear no one talk about, well, Lennox Lewis this, Lennox Lewis that. Lennox Lewis happened to just be winning, but he wasn't at his very best. Because if he was at his very best, he wouldn't have been struggling with Vitaly Klitschko. Okay? If he was at his best, he would have took out Holyfield in both fights. I don't want to hear that. Oh, you could be at your... No, you're not at your best. Crawford is not in his prime right now. When Crawford fought Spence, they weren't in their primes. They weren't at their best. And that's what it looks like when we're going to get with this Shakur in Tank if this keeps happening. That's what we're going to get out of Benividez and Canelo if this keeps happening. And all Turki Alalshikh is trying to do is make the best fight the best. And I don't see what's wrong with that. The reason why a lot of you boxing fans don't want to see it is because you guys are making money off the channel talking about your favorite fighter. When a lot of the real channels, they're not invested in one fighter. All the real channels, they just want to see the best fight the best and only talk about the best, and they keep it down the middle. If I criticize Devin Haney, best believe I got something to say about Ryan Garcia and vice versa. If I criticize Tank Davis, best believe I got something to say about Shakur Stevenson. I keep it down the middle. If I'm going to criticize Anthony Joshua, you best believe I'll have something to say about Dubois. Because we keep it down the middle. The MLBC keeps it down the middle. And Canelo is running out of excuses. No one cares. Listen, you lost to Floyd Mayweather. Your fans said that you wasn't ready for that type of fight. You was green. You lost to Bivol. Your fanboys said, oh, well, you fought in a weight class you don't belong in, so it doesn't count. Your fanboys are so happy for you. They got all these excuses for you, and they're running out of excuses with you when it comes to Benividez. And you should be glad that Benividez moved up to 175 because he's tired of you. He's tired of waiting. And the MLBC is tired of defending this. And listen, this is why the MLBC is Team Stream City. Why should I pay for a fight that I don't care about seeing? Do you really want to pay for Berlinga versus Canelo? Ask yourself that. Ask yourself if you really want to pay for Berlinga versus Canelo. It's your money, not mine. You could do whatever you want with your money. The MLBC has no say-so. It's your money. You can do what you want. Over here is Team Stream City, especially when it comes to fights that we don't want to see. And we certainly don't want to see Berlinga versus Canelo. I don't know about you, but I don't. This is the MLBC.
This is the MOBC, my own boxing community. Please like, share, and subscribe.